Hello, and welcome to installment 3 of our wild and wonderful journey through the world of repertoire as viewed through the prism of dictation. And dictation extracts, examples. One term we don't like to use here is exercises, but again, that depends on how you like to view dictations and to what relationship you have with it, whether it's positive, negative, whatnot. So today, we will look at, unlike either of our first two episodes, this will focus on string quartets, and most specifically, a string quartet that, while classical, isn't quite governed by our notions of classical harmony. And that, as many of you perceptive viewers out there will know, is the Heiliger Dankesang in der Liedischer Tonart, the middle movement and the crux, the fulcrum of Beethoven's gargantuan string quartet opus 132 in A minor, his second of his final 5 masterworks string quartets. Now what's special about this movement was that Beethoven had just completed his opus 127 E-flat quartet a little while before, and was in the middle of working on 132, I believe in 1826, when he was struck down with incredible illness, and he was in bed, convalescing, and wasn't sure he was going to make it through the night, and in response, Beethoven, who was not necessarily what we would call a dogmatic religious man, but a very spiritual man, wrote this in praise when he ultimately overcame that bout. Yes, he would succumb a few years later, but not before first completing this masterwork, opus 130 and 131, the quartets in B-flat and C-sharp minor, the Great Fugue, and the replacement finale for opus 130, and the F major string quartet, his final completed work, opus 135. This particular piece is fascinating for a variety of reasons, but as we look in this context, the key here will be transcribing it all in one fell swoop. We can do that because the A section, it's a rondo form, A-B-A-B-A. In this case, the reason we can do that is because the A section, the one we'll be looking at, is marked Molto Adagio. All voices are sottovoce, a standard string quartet arrangement, 2 treble clefs, alto, and a bass. I'll try to keep it to 4 voices, but as I take it, as many of you guys are probably notating this on staff paper, I might add a 5th and 6th when Beethoven decides to double within a certain part, to fill out the sonority. The key to this, I'll play it through 5 times, will be following voices, because one of the characteristics of these first 2 phrases, they're in 4/4 time, common time. There are, I believe, 12 measures we'll be looking at. What's characteristic is the, perhaps you could say, imitative counterpoint, but not in a canonic sense, in a very, in a style that's most certainly not Renaissance, but harkens back to Renaissance imitation, in which the start of a given phrase will be written in imitation, each of the voices on the previous one or on the first one. So without further ado, here is this absolutely sublime piece that never fails to move me. It may fail to move you because of my playing, but let's hope that's not the case. And in any case, if you feel like a sonic cleansing is required after hearing me play this, I'll attach a few more links to hopefully better recordings in the chat. So we are in F Lydian, entailing a no key signature, no sharps nor flats, because if you remember with Lydian, the sharp 4th scale degree negates the B flat and the F major key signature. We'll start on the 3rd quarter of the measure. It is in common time. Your starting pitch is in the top voice, the first violin. It is middle C. And here we go. second time, and remember each time I introduce a second or third time, that's a cue if you need to pause the video to finish jotting any thoughts you've collected down in the course of listening and haven't had time to notate. So second time. Third time. Penultimate, fourth time. And final time. that'll do it for this episode of The Wild and Wonderful World of Dictation. In our odyssey of how dictation can be reconceived. If you feel like you want to sort of come closer to the timbre of how this piece was composed, and not as a dictation exercise, I hope, but as a further reawakening the sense of what Beethoven imagined for this piece and the sound world of this piece, I strongly encourage you to follow the links below. And in the meantime, hope to see you soon, and thanks for tuning in.